שלום לכם מאולפן ישראל היום. הדיווח של העיתונאית הקנדית פיית' גולדי על מה שחוותה וראתה כאן בישראל הפך לוויראלי ברשתות החברתיות. אנחנו ביקשנו לדבר איתה ונאמר עכשיו שלום לפיית' גולדי מקנדה. So what have you seen in Israel that made you change your mind?
Thanks very much for having me. Well, there was a lot that I saw in Israel that made me believe in the one-state solution. I think it was just seeing the difference between Israel and her neighbors, Israel and the disputed territories within her borders, seeing how Israelis live their life, the principles that guide them versus, say, Syria, Lebanon, Hamas-controlled Gaza, let alone even the disputed Palestinian territories within Israel's borders. I think also speaking with Arab Israelis really opened my mind. You know, we asked young Arab Israelis where they would rather live in the entire world, whether it be anywhere in the Middle East or Israel, and every single one of them said Israel. And we asked them why. It's because they said that they felt the freest there. I also spoke to members of the Israeli Defense Forces and understanding the moral dilemmas that these men and women go through in executing not just big orders, but just day-to-day events, and understanding the high caliber, the high threshold and moral standard that they hold themselves to, because they know the whole world is watching. It really opens your mind, and I'll add this. Seeing the Israeli settlements for myself made me understand that the West's conception of what settlement means is very different than what it is. These are neighborhoods, these are families, these are homes, and not a single Palestinian home was bulldozed in order to make any single one of them. So I suppose it was an intermingling of patriots who are Jewish, who are Israeli, patriots who are even Arab in background, and meeting members of the defense forces and settlement communities, and putting all of that in context with the fact that they were completely surrounded by hostile enemies. It made it very, very clear that the Israeli government is unlike any other one in the Middle East, in that they share liberal democratic values, and that's the sort of thing that I will support.
Yes, and why do you think the world is covering Israel and the conflict in such a one-sided way?
Well, I think it's a mixture of different things. Very, very simply, I think there's certainly a portion of it that can be attributed to the oldest hatred in human history, and that's just old-fashioned anti-Semitism. I think that the West's journalists, as well as the West politicians, have given in to political pressure created from Arab and Islamic states that have, some of them within their constitution, other ones within just their political culture, the intention to see Israel destroyed as a state, that hate the fact that a Jewish state even exists. And so I think that Arab pressure is yet a second reason why the West covers Israel geopolitics the way that she does. And the third is this, the left. What is the greatest religion that is spreading the fastest right now? It's not Judaism, it's not Christianity, and it's not even Islam. It's leftism. And make no mistake, leftism is a religion. There are certain creeds. You might believe in environmentalism, you might believe in feminism, you might believe in gay rights, transgender rights, but part of it is demonizing Israel. And what I find so particularly bizarre and hypocritical about this is the fact that Israel, unlike any other country in the entire Middle East, stands up for women's rights. Women are seen as completely equal, unlike, say, a hop, skip, and a jump over in Saudi Arabia, where women have to ask for permission to drive a car, to get an education, heck, to leave their country. You want to talk about gay rights? I was in Tel Aviv during Purim. I saw, you know, Tel Aviv is one of the gay destination capitals of the world. So I think that the left has a little bit of examination that they have to do, a little bit of introspection, and understand the fact that their demonization of Israel is totally against all of their core tenets of what their religion seeks to uphold.
Yes, and do you think that journalists who are covering this area can really know what it feels like to live in here as Israelis?
No, I think that you have to be on the ground in order to experience it. I think that what's being taught to us in textbooks, in the media, in our political culture here on the left, well, I'd like to believe in objectivity, it hasn't been that. We've seen the left co-opt our academic pulpits. We've seen them they dominate our mainstream media. And as I've said, they have an agenda, and it's one that demonizes Israel. And let's be very clear, it's become almost trendy. It's become almost trendy to spew these liberal tropes that, you know, Israel bulldozes homes, that Israeli settlements are illegal, that say that, you know, Israel starves people within the Gaza Strip, when all of that is a load of baloney. Israel transports hundreds of trucks worth of goods every single day into the Gaza Strip. They're not the ones who are starving Gazans. It's Hamas that is starving Gazans. Not a single Palestinian home has been bulldozed. The so-called apartheid wall is a security fence that was erected because Israelis, including Israeli children, were being killed by suicide bombers from the disputed territories. So I think that you only get that if you go to Israel. And I'll add this. When you go to Israel as a Westerner, you have to make sure that you get the full package. I spoke to people from both sides of the fence, quite literally, from people who had a very, very different ideas about the past, the present, and the future of Israel and the surrounding territories. And I think that you will not get an unadulterated, unbiased, and objective view unless you go there and you talk to the people and collect the primary sources for yourself.
How do you think Israel should fight the ignorance around the world about the situation in the Middle East?
Look, I was in Israel for a week. I don't claim that I'm going to, you know, waltz in there and be able to solve Israel's problems. There are men and women much smarter than myself who have their finger on the pulse of these issues, who, you know, I'm sure stay up at night trying to figure it out. But I will say this. I think one of the biggest challenges for Israel right now when it comes to her public relations, if you will, is this. And I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit offensive, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's leftist Jewish journalists who are more leftist than they are Jewish. And what I've seen, and this comes from someone who's been attacked by these people, is that they spew these pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel tropes and say, I can do this because I'm a Jew. I think that it would be in the interest of the Israeli government and fellow freedom fighters in Israel to reach out to some of these journalists, to encourage them to come to their homeland, their rightful homeland, and come see for themselves. And I'll leave you with this. As far as I can see, standing all the way here across the pond in Canada, there are two great allies for Jewish Israelis. There are two great allies for the Israeli state. They are Christians and they are conservatives. And I think that it would be becoming of Israelis to understand that we're here. We stand shoulder to shoulder with you. We love your country. We love your freedoms. We love your culture. We love your history. And we want to stand with you in defending all those beautiful things.
Faith Goldy from Canada, thank you so much for this interview.
Thanks very much for having me on.
ותודה לכם שצפיתם בנו. אתם מוזמנים להמשיך ולעקוב אחרינו באתר, באפליקציה ובעמוד הפייסבוק של ישראל היום.